Welcome. I'm Jerry Oginski, a medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law here in the state of New York. Today's topic is, why is your case worth only $250,000 and your neighbor's case is worth $500,000? Well, by the time we're done with this short video, I'm going to give you a number of reasons why your case has a different value than your neighbor's. Number one, the venue where your case is pending is crucial in determining the value of your particular case. Whether your case is pending in the Bronx or in upstate Albany makes a huge difference. The venue is where your case is pending, and the locality is crucial in determining most of your value. Which brings me to tip number two, the jury. The law says we're entitled to a jury of one's peers to try and listen to our case. However, does that mean that if you are a 35-year-old woman, that you are entitled to have 6 females on your jury who are 35 years old listening and deciding your case? The reality is no. Does that mean if you are a physician who's been sued, that you are entitled to have 6 doctors, 6 colleagues of yours sitting on the jury deciding your fate? Again, the reality is no. So who is it that's making up our jury pool in each of the counties that we participate in as a juror? Well, jurors come from all over the county, from all over the state. And they are made up of different ages, races, ethnicity, and people have different values and different feelings. So the value of people who are in Brooklyn may be different than people's morals and values in an upstate county. In Manhattan, they may be different than in Queens. And so the value and the makeup, how a jury pool consists and who it's comprised of, is very important as to whether or not your case has a particular value. Number 3, what is the age of the person who has been injured? How old are you? And why is that important? It's important because a person's age is significant for determining how long you may have to live with your disability and your injury. Someone who is 30 years old may have a lifelong injury for the next 40, 50 years. Someone who is 80 years old and suffers a fractured hand may have a different expectation of how the injury is going to affect them. How your disability affects you is crucial in determining part of the value of your case, because your injuries may be totally different than your neighbor's, and your disability and how it's affecting you may also be totally different. Can you do the things that you used to be able to do? Well, maybe your neighbor can't, and you can, and that's going to affect the value of your particular case. And this is crucial when you go to an attorney, that you tell your attorney specifically how your injuries have affected you. And this is crucial to distinguishing your case from anybody else's case, because your injuries and your age may affect how you function on a day-to-day basis, whereas your neighbor may be much worse off than you are. And that's why her case is significantly higher value than your case. Next, do you need ongoing medical care? Are your injuries so bad that you require ongoing treatment on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? Well, guess what? Your neighbor may require that ongoing monthly care or that continued medical care. What about the future? Will she need surgery? Will you need surgery in the future? If you don't need surgery and your neighbor probably will, then again, the value of her potential case is significantly more than your injuries. What about lost earnings? Let's say you were out of work for a few days, but it turns out that your neighbor was out of work for a few months. This is another factor that's going to impact the value of your particular case and hers as well. So that if she was earning, let's say, $100,000 a year, and she was out of work for a few months, you can calculate, and you can get an expert, an economist, somebody who can calculate the value of a dollar today and what it's going to be worth in the future. And they can look at what you were earning and figure out obviously how much you lost, not just in the past, but also project into the future so that you can calculate and estimate how much money you will have lost in the future because of your injuries or your neighbor's injuries. Now, is a fractured arm for somebody who does sedentary work the same value as, let's say, a professional baseball player from the Yankees who suffers a fractured arm? Well, if they're earning $5 million a year and they can't play, for 2 months out of their career, that's a significant imposition, and they're going to have much higher lost earnings than somebody who's not earning as much and working at mostly a sedentary job. What if you have is your hand that was fractured, is it a dominant hand or a non-dominant hand? That's important because if it's your dominant hand, you have limited your ability to do most of your daily functions. But if it's your non-dominant hand, then the value is going to be less than if it was your dominant hand. So maybe your injuries involved your non-dominant hand, whereas your neighbor's case involved her dominant hand. And that may account for another reason why the value of her case is significantly more than yours. And do you need ongoing treatment in the future? Which goes back to another point I just made. If you don't need any further treatment, then you're pretty much doing well after your injuries and after your treatment. That's great. But that is going to limit the value of your case as far as the future. Your neighbor, however, may have more significant injuries and may need ongoing treatment in the future, and that's certainly going to account for one of the reasons why her case is valued higher than yours. And that's it for today's topic. I'm Jerry Oginski. Have a great day.